Hey everyone, it's Epoch here, and welcome to my entry into this week's comic book cover challenge set by Alan at Comic Collector Geek. This week's theme is Black History, because it's Black History Month, and that was last week's theme as well. So last week's theme was showing off comic book covers that have cool female black characters that you enjoy, and this week's theme was the same but for men. So instead of doing a video last week and a video this week, I've just decided to put the two of them together. So I'll show off covers for cool kind of black female characters I like. I'll actually have 8 covers instead of the 10, but I think that's more because I had kind of multiple covers featuring the same characters rather than distinct characters. And then once I've gone through the those 8 covers for cool female black characters I enjoy, we'll go through 10 covers of cool black male characters I enjoy. So let's take a look. First up this week is Star Trek Lower Decks #1. This is cover B. Star Trek Lower Decks is a show that I've really enjoyed over the last couple of years. It's one of my favourites of the modern Trek kind of iterations. One of the main characters is Ensign Mariner here. Who's is just really quite funny, and the reason this cover is lower is because it's a character who originated on television rather than comic books. So I thought I'd get those characters out of the way first. But Marina is just a really fun character, and I think this cover kind of really captures the kind of funniness of her and the kind of recklessness of her, which is quite fun. So here she's obviously like blasted off Ensign Boimler's uniform here with her Type 2 phaser. So yeah, it's just a really fun one to start off, and a really fun character to start off with. So that's Ensign Mariner on the cover of Star Trek Lower Decks #1, cover B. The next issue I'd like to show is DC Superhero Girls #1. It's a free comic book day version. On the cover here, we have this character, Bumblebee, who's quite a fun character. I really like the kind of like the main continuity version of Bumblebee. I don't really know much about the version of the character in this cartoon, but I'm sure she's just as fun as the one in the main comics. But this is the cover I have for on, so that's DC Superhero Girls #1 free comic book day edition. Next up this week, we have Torrent #1. Now, this is a comic that only came out within the last couple of weeks, so it's a new buy. It kind of follows this main character here, Michelle Metcalf, aka Crackerjack, who's this kind of new superhero who has kind of like bouncing powers. She seems pretty cool so far. Obviously, I've only read issue 1. I don't know when issue 2 is out, so I'll pick up the next couple just to see if I'm still enjoying it. But I enjoyed issue 1, and I thought she was a cool character. We also have this kind of sidekick character here as well. I'm not too keen on him. He's a bit douchey, but she's pretty cool, Crackerjack. So I'm excited to see where her character goes, and hopefully it remains good beyond the first issue. So that's Torrent #1 featuring Crackerjack. Next up, we have The Girls of Dimension 13 #2. This is just quite a fun series written by Graham Nolan, who's a quality writer and of course artist as well, but he doesn't actually draw this series. But on the cover here we have kind of the 4 characters, and this character in particular, Nadia Bailey, she's quite a fun character of the group. In fact, I really enjoy all the characters in this group. They're kind of these girls who kind of have these kind of supernatural powers and stuff, and then kind of fight through dimensions. It's a wee while since I've read it. I've got the trade paperback of the full story, but I only actually have this issue. I picked up in a dollar bin or a pound bin at a comic book convention, just because I enjoyed the story. But it's just a fun series. The Girls of Dimension 13, and like I say, all these characters are really fun. But here we have kind of the black female character of the group, Nadia Bailey, who's pretty cool in her own right, as they all are. So that's The Girls of Dimension 13 #2. Next up is Legion of Superheroes #41, which kind of introduces the new Legionnaires, and of course we have this character here, Catspaw. Who I really enjoy, and this is the reason I'm showing this cover, to show off Catspaw. He's just a really just a fun member of the Legion of Superheroes. I really like her character. I really like Andromeda here as well, the main character on the cover there. It's a great cover for her, but we're really here for Catspaw in this video. It's just a really fun character that I really enjoy. So that's Legion of Superheroes #41. And at #3 for the girls is Generation X Annual #96, and I'm showing this because we have Monet here, who's one of the original and kind of key members of the team, and certainly one of my favourite characters from the Generation X book. And I loved it as well when she appeared on the kind of the X Factor Investigations series from 2005. That was a really good appearance for Monet as well. I had wanted to show Generation X number 62 because that's a really great Monet cover, but I couldn't actually find it, so I seem to have misplaced that, so I might need to get it again. But in lieu of that, I'm showing here Generation X Annual number 96. We have kind of Monet here kind of fighting alongside her team members. So yeah, Generation X Annual 96. And at number 2 for the girls, we have the Walking Dead free comic book day issue. Which is kind of an issue that features side stories for some of the characters, and I featured this here because we have Michonne here quite prominently in the middle, with her samurai sword there, ready for taking out zombies and stuff. It's just a cool cover. I don't have Michonne's first appearance, but it's one I'm hoping to get soon, because I just love the character. So here we have, like I say, Michonne kind of front and center here with a sword. And this would be quite a good issue to show for the guy portion of this video as well, because we have Tyrese and Morgan Jones as well there, which is pretty cool. But in this instance, I'm using it for Michonne. So that's the Walking Dead free comic book day issue. And the number 1 spot for the ladies is The Mighty World of Marvel Volume 3, number 4, which is a UK comic. Which reprints kind of American issues. So at the time the book was featuring Daredevil and Hulk, and then it would have a third issue of kind of like a guest character. So in issue 4 it was Storm. They started reprinting her 1996 mini series. I think it was 4 issues. And this cover is a reprint of Storm number 1. It's just I've always loved this cover since I've had this, and I've always meant to pick up a copy of Storm number 1. I've just not gotten around to it, just because I've always had this version of my collection. So I will get that eventually, but I just thought I'd show it off here. This kind of great Storm cover. I think it's one of our best. So that's Mighty World of Marvel Volume 3 number 1, featuring the reprint cover of Storm number 1. So yeah. So those were some of my favourite black female characters from comic books, and then some from other genres or other mediums that have been brought into comics. So now let's take a look at 10 covers that I've picked out for some black male characters that I really, really enjoy and think are great characters. So let's take a look. And at number 10 for the guys is Angel number 23. Which features the character here, Gunn, from the television show, and then went on to the comics. These comics are set after the show, so after the Angel Series 5 finale. Angel Series 5 kind of got cancelled sort of prematurely, so Series 5 ended on a cliffhanger. And this comic book series kind of picked up where that cliffhanger left off, and spoilers for Gunn's character, but from that point he becomes a vampire, and this is just kind of like the epilogue issue once they've kind of dealt with that kind of stuff. But I just always thought Gunn was a really kind of fun and interesting character, and especially when they made him into a vampire in the kind of the Aftermath comic. I just thought that was really cool. Again, like with the ladies, the reason this one's so low on the list is because it's a character who originated in television rather than in comics, so I've decided to put the kind of those characters at the lower end of the list, just because it's a comic challenge more than a television challenge. So yeah, this is a Gunn on the cover of Angel number 23. The next character I'd like to show is Captain Benjamin Sisko on the cover of Star Trek Deep Space Nine number 1. Star Trek Deep Space Nine is absolutely one of my favourite Star Trek shows. I'm a huge nerd for 90s Star Trek. I grew up kind of loving that. And Deep Space Nine has became one of my favourites over the years. And I absolutely love Captain Benjamin Sisko. He's such a great character. He's had so many great moments in the show and so many episodes. So I just had to showcase him on this list. And also we have Lieutenant Commander Worf here as well, as a great black character too. Klingon character as well. So yeah, again, the reason this is lower down on the list, like I said before, is because the character originated on television rather than in comics, but I just had to include him on this list because Captain Sisko is such a fantastic character. So that's Star Trek Deep Space Nine number 1. And at number 8 this week, we have New Titans number 98. And the reason I've featured this cover is because of this character here, Cyborg. I just thought it was kind of an interesting character. I really liked him in the Teen Titans Go series, and I really like him in the actual Titans live action series as well. I wasn't so keen on him in the Justice League film, but yeah, overall I think Cyborg's a pretty fun character. And I guess we have here as well. I'm not sure if that's Catspaw or if it's Vixen, but either way, it's it would have been cool to feature in for the ladies as well. But in this case, I'm using this issue to showcase Cyborg, who's kind of a great kind of like cybernetic character. So that's New Titans number 98. Next up, we have ISOM number 1, which features this character here on the main cover, Avery Silman, aka ISOM, and this is his debut in his first issue. This is the first comic in the Ripperverse comic book company's continuity. From Eric July. I really enjoyed this crowdfunder comic when I got it and read it. I thought it was pretty good, so I'm excited to see kind of where this character and the characters of this world go next as Eric kind of releases his next campaign, whenever that is. I think there's a couple of campaigns he's planning to do this year. But here we have the main cover A of ISOM number 1, featuring ISOM himself ready for battle. I think this is a cover by Kieran White or whichever pseudonym he's using now. I'm pretty sure it's Kane and White though. So that's Avery Silman, aka ISOM, on the cover of ISOM number 1. And at number 6 this week, we have Cage number 3, which features that great character Luke Cage. Is there kind of prominently on the cover. He's just beating up Tombstone, it looks like. And then we have Punisher there in the background. Luke Cage, just a great character. Always loved the Power Man and Iron Fist series where we had kind of Luke Cage and Iron Fist teaming up, and I really enjoyed the Luke Cage kind of live action series that was on Netflix a wee while ago. But yeah, here we have Luke Cage featuring on the cover of Cage number 3, which was his 90s book. So that's Cage number 3. And at number 5 this week, we have Green Arrow number 3, which features the villain Black Manta on the cover. He's just a fantastic villain. He's one of my favourite DC villains and my favourite part of the Aquaman movie. But yeah, I just really love this Green Arrow cover. We have him facing off against Black Manta. It's just one of those great super villains. So that's Green Arrow number 3. And at number 3 this week, we have the Secret Defenders number 9, which has War Machine on the cover. James Rhodes, Rhodey, aka War Machine. Fantastic character. I've always enjoyed that character. I was first introduced to him in the 90s Iron Man cartoon series, and I just loved him in the comics that I read as well that he was in. And of course, War Machine's a great character in the MCU films as well, so I just had to include him on this list. So here we have War Machine on the cover of Secret Defenders number 9. The number 3 spot this week goes to Spawn number 1, and this is a free comic book day version of that kind of classic book. Spawn, just a fantastic black character who's still popular today, as many comic books, has had a fun film in the 90s as well, that great animated series from the 90s too. So yeah, Spawn's just a great character, and I had to include him on this list because I really enjoy him. I think I said that the War Machine issue was number 3, but that would be number 4. This is number 3 on the list. Spawn number 1, just a great character. So yeah, Spawn number 1. And at number 2 this week, we have the Uncanny X-Men number 282, which is the first appearance of Bishop. Bishop is one of my favourite X-Men characters from the 90s. He was just a lot of fun, and I thought it was portrayed really well in the X-Men Days of Future Past movie as well. But yeah, Bishop, just a great character. Again, I was first introduced to him with the 90s kind of X-Men animated series, and then saw him in the comics from there. Just some great storylines like Bishop's Crossing, for example. Yeah, Bishop's just a great character. And so here he is on the cover of Uncanny X-Men number 282. The number 1 spot this week goes to Shadowhawk 2 number 3, which is the third issue of the second Shadowhawk miniseries. Shadowhawk is definitely my favourite kind of black male superhero character. What's interesting about Shadowhawk is in the first series, you don't know who's under the mask. You just see Shadowhawk himself as like a vigilante who like breaks the spines of people that have done wrong in the city that he's in. But in Shadowhawk 2, the story of that series, and spoilers if you've not read Shadowhawk, but it's a 30-year-old comic, so I think I have some leeway. So Shadowhawk number 2, Shadowhawk series 2 story was this copycat character who was dressing up similar to Shadowhawk and killing kind of people, but he was an absolute racist. He was only targeting black people. kind of black villains, and sometimes not even villains, just people he thought who were being villainous, and killing them. This absolutely shocked Shadowhawk. So Shadowhawk kind of went to stop him, because the reveal is that Shadowhawk himself is actually a black character. And in this issue, he reveals himself to the copycat. So on the cover here, this is a gimmick cover. We have the mask with the hands on it, but as you kind of lift it up, perforate the side, you see underneath that the character is the character here is kind of black, and that shocks the copycat guy, because he's an absolute racist, and they kind of deal with that. So it's a really kind of powerful series, a really powerful kind of mini series dealing with kind of race politics. So I just really enjoyed this series. So that's Shadowhawk 2 number 3. I have a non-perforated version of this as well on the back of the board, but this is the perforated one that I thought I'd show for effect here on the video. So yeah, Shadowhawk 2 number 3. So that was my entry into this week and last week's comic book cover challenge set by Alan at Comic Collector Geek. And this week's theme and last week's theme was, of course, Black History. So just kind of books showing male and female black characters who are fantastic, and that everyone really enjoys. So if you'd like to take part in this video, or take part in this challenge even, is if you dig through your personal comic book collection and pick out 10 covers showing black male characters, or if you're doing last week's black female characters that you think are really cool, and make a video showing them off, and use the hashtags Black History and Friday Comic Challenge, and that way everyone in the comic community who takes part in these challenges can get a look at your video, and you never know, maybe see some cool covers you want to add to their collection. If you'd like to check out my previous videos in the comic book cover challenge, and please click on this playlist that's linked here at the side, and otherwise I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.